were 8-2 that year, and we only had, I think, maybe 23 players that lettered that whole year.
Paul Hornung was a star of the NFL in the 1950s, dazzling fans with his record-breaking performances. But after his career ended, Hornung's life took a dark and tragic turn. The toll of countless hits on the field began to show its devastating effects. CTE took over his life and eventually became the reason for his heartbreaking death. But before we dive into his story, make sure to subscribe. Hornung passed away on November 13, 2020, at the age of 84 in Louisville, Kentucky. His death was attributed to dementia, a condition he believed stemmed from the many concussions he suffered during his football career. Hornung's battle with dementia was heartbreaking, especially for those who remembered him as the vibrant, talented player known as the Golden Boy.
Hornung was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1986. He also won the 1956 Heisman Trophy while playing quarterback for Notre Dame.
Hornung's story is, sadly, not unique. He became one of at least 345 NFL players who have been diagnosed posthumously with chronic traumatic encephalopathy, a brain condition caused by repeated hits to the head. The revelation of his CTE diagnosis further highlighted the lasting impact of the game he loved and the serious consequences that came with it. His career still remains engraved in the hearts of his fans. Hornung was born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky, the son of Paul Vernon Hornung Sr. and Loretta Williams. From an early age, it was clear he was destined for greatness in sports. At Flaggett High School in Louisville, Hornung stood out as an exceptional athlete, earning letters all 4 years in football, basketball, and baseball. His talent didn't go unnoticed. He was recruited by the legendary Bear Bryant at Kentucky. However, Hornung decided to attend Notre Dame, drawn by its rich football tradition and the opportunities it offered. Hornung's college football journey started slowly, spending his sophomore season in 1954 as a backup fullback. But by his junior year in 1955, he had transformed into a star, playing as a halfback and safety. He finished fourth in the nation in total offense that year, racking up 1,215 yards and scoring 6 touchdowns. His performances were electric. 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in a game against number 4 Navy led to a big win, while his touchdown pass and field goal secured a victory over Iowa. Even in a loss to Southern California, Hornung was spectacular, combining for 354 yards in rushing and passing, the best in the country that year. The 1956 season was a defining moment for Hornung. He led Notre Dame in nearly every offensive category: passing, rushing, scoring, kickoff and punt returns, and punting. He even made significant contributions on defense, leading in passes broken up, and ranking second in both interceptions and tackles. Despite Notre Dame's disappointing 2-8 record, Hornung's outstanding individual performance earned him the Heisman Trophy, making him the only player from a losing team to ever receive the honor. Nicknamed the Golden Boy, Hornung was a versatile and dynamic quarterback who could run, pass, block, and tackle with unmatched skill. Many still consider him the greatest all-around football player in Notre Dame history. Hornung's athletic prowess wasn't limited to the football field. He also played basketball during his sophomore year at Notre Dame. Hornung later admitted that one of the reasons he chose Notre Dame was the chance to play basketball. However, he was eventually asked to focus solely on football to help keep his grades up. In August 1957, during the College All-Star Game in Chicago, Hornung participated in a memorable event, a match race against Abe Woodson, one of the fastest players to ever don football pads. Despite being up against such a speedy opponent, Hornung won the 100-yard race by a full 5 yards, adding yet another chapter to his legacy. The race against Woodson was a moment of fun and another opportunity to showcase his extraordinary athletic abilities. After graduating from Notre Dame with a business degree, Hornung was the first overall pick in the 1957 NFL Draft, selected by the Green Bay Packers. This marked the beginning of a legendary career with the Packers, where Hornung became a key player in the team's success. However, not everything went as planned in that iconic Super Bowl. Despite being a crucial part of the team, Hornung was the only Packer who didn't play in the game. A pinched nerve had sidelined him, and even though he was available to enter the game in the fourth quarter, he made the tough decision not to. It was a bittersweet moment, as the Packers celebrated their victory without one of their most beloved stars on the field. In 1960, he set a record that stood for decades by scoring an incredible 176 points in a season, which was especially impressive since the season only had 12 games back then. Although LaDainian Tomlinson eventually broke the record in 2006, it took him 14 games to do so, highlighting just how extraordinary Hornung's achievement was. In 1961, Hornung showcased his scoring prowess in the NFL championship game, where he tied the record for most points scored by a player in a postseason game with 19 points. This record remained untouched for nearly 33 years, until Ricky Watters surpassed it in 1994. Hornung's ability to rise to the occasion was also evident in the 1965 championship game, where he rushed for 105 yards and a touchdown on a muddy field against the Cleveland Browns, leading the Packers to victory. That same year, in October, Hornung set a new record for most points scored in a single month with 77, another mark that stood until Tomlinson broke it in November 2006. Hornung's excellence on the field earned him numerous accolades, including being named the league's most valuable player in 1961. He was also a two-time All-Pro selection and made it to the Pro Bowl twice. Hornung remains one of only 9 players to have won both the Heisman Trophy and the NFL's Most Valuable Player award. He also holds the distinction of being the only player to successfully execute a 50-plus yard fair catch kick, a rare and challenging play which he achieved in 1964 against the Chicago Bears. In what would become a legendary performance, the 29-year-old Hornung scored a team record 5 touchdowns, 3 rushing and 2 receiving, in a crucial 42-27 victory over the Baltimore Colts on December 12, 1965. Their win over the Colts helped them finish the season tied for the Western Conference lead, leading to a playoff game that the Packers won in overtime to advance to the NFL championship. In that championship game, Hornung again proved his worth, running for 105 yards and a touchdown, securing the Packers' third league title under the legendary coach Vince Lombardi. Then came an unexpected downfall. Unfortunately, Hornung's career began to wind down due to injuries. A pinched nerve in his neck severely limited his playing time in 1966, and he did not see action in Super Bowl I when the Packers defeated the Kansas City Chiefs 35-10. After the season, Hornung was selected by the New Orleans Saints in the expansion draft, but his neck injury ultimately forced him to retire during training camp. Although he never suited up for the Saints, Hornung's legacy was already secure, and he remained a cherished figure in football history, especially among Packers fans who fondly remembered him and his backfield partner, Jim Taylor, as the formidable thunder and lightning duo of the early 1960s. Hornung's scoring ability on the field was truly remarkable, and he set several impressive records that still stand out in NFL history. He holds the record for the most games with 30 or more points, achieving this incredible feat twice during his career. He also set the record for the most games with 25 or more points, doing it 3 times. In 1960, Hornung had a season to remember, scoring 13 points in 8 different games, which is another record he still holds. However, not all of Hornung's records were ones to boast about. In 1964, he set a less flattering record by missing 26 field goals in a single season, the most ever missed by an NFL player in one year. Despite this, Hornung's overall contributions to the game and his ability to come through in clutch moments far outweigh this blemish on his record. His legacy as a dynamic and versatile player remains strong, even with a few missed kicks along the way. His honors were like none other. Hornung's remarkable football career earned him a place among the legends of the sport, and his legacy has been celebrated in various ways over the years. In 1975, he was honored with induction into the Green Bay Packers Hall of Fame, recognizing his significant contributions to the team. A decade later, in 1985, Hornung's college achievements were commemorated when he was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. Just a year after that, in 1986, Hornung reached the pinnacle of football honors with his induction into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, cementing his status as one of the game's all-time greats. His achievements in Wisconsin were further acknowledged when he was inducted into the Wisconsin Athletic Hall of Fame in 1990. Hornung's impact extends beyond his playing days. The Paul Hornung Award is presented annually to the top high school football player in the state of Kentucky, celebrating the best young talent in his home state. Starting in 2010, another prestigious award named after Hornung has been given out each year to the most versatile college football player in the nation, a fitting tribute to Hornung's own versatility on the field. Even though there has never been an official ceremony to retire his number 5 jersey at Lambeau Field, it was unofficially retired by Vince Lombardi on July 10, 1967. Since then, no Packers player has worn number 5, honoring Hornung's legacy in a quiet but meaningful way. Interestingly, many of Hornung's personal awards and honors, including his Notre Dame diploma, have found a home in the basement of a close friend and old Army buddy, Wallace Peters, who lives in Indiana. This collection serves as a testament to Hornung's incredible career and the deep friendships he forged along the way. His life off the field was equally as great. Hornung's life was full of incredible highs and some significant challenges. After finishing his college career, Hornung was called to serve in the U.S. Army during the 1961 NFL season. Despite being on active duty, he managed to keep playing on Sundays, thanks to weekend passes. This was no ordinary arrangement. Vince Lombardi, his head coach and a friend of President John F. Kennedy, was able to secure a special pass that allowed Hornung to play in the NFL championship game against the New York Giants that year. In that championship game, Hornung's performance was so outstanding that he was named the most valuable player by Sport magazine. However, this led to an unexpected complication, a tax dispute with the IRS. The magazine had awarded Hornung a brand new 1962 Chevrolet Corvette, but he hadn't reported its value on his tax returns. The case went all the way to the United States Tax Court, where it was decided that since Hornung couldn't take possession of the car until 1962, its value should be counted in that year's income. More importantly, the court ruled that awards for athletic achievements couldn't be excluded from an athlete's gross income. This ruling set a precedent, making it clear that all awards given to athletes are taxable. Despite his success on the field, Hornung's life took a turn in 1963 when he became involved in a major scandal. He, along with Detroit Lions defensive tackle Alex Karras, was suspended indefinitely by NFL Commissioner Pete Rozelle for betting on NFL games and associating with questionable individuals. Hornung admitted his mistake and, largely thanks to Lombardi's persistent lobbying, was reinstated for the 1964 season. As part of the deal, Hornung agreed to steer clear of gambling and to avoid places like Las Vegas and even the Kentucky Derby, an event he had attended regularly. After retiring from football, Hornung stayed connected to the sport through various broadcasting roles. He worked as a color analyst for the Minnesota Vikings radio broadcasts, and later for several television networks, including CBS and ABC Radio, covering both NFL and USFL games. Hornung also did play-by-play for LSU's pay-per-view broadcasts, alongside his former Packers teammate, Jim Taylor. In 2004, Hornung sparked controversy with comments about the academic standards at Notre Dame, suggesting that the university needed to relax its policies to attract more black athletes if it wanted to remain competitive. The comments were met with immediate backlash, with Notre Dame and former coach Ara Parseghian publicly disagreeing with him. Hornung later clarified that he was referring to the need for better players of all races. One of Hornung's lifelong dreams was to have a horse compete in the Kentucky Derby. In 2013, he came close with a horse named Titletown 5, trained by his friend and Hall of Fame trainer, D. Wayne Lucas. Although the horse didn't qualify for the Derby, it did compete in the Preakness Stakes, though it finished last. That is it for this one. But if you happen to like NFL legends, make sure to check out our latest videos. On our channel NFL Icons, I'm sure you will love it.